welcome back to my channel. My name is Anna, and today we are going to close out our February budget. So in my previous videos, I typically just show y'all the end results of closing out our budget and writing it on the Budget Moms Where Did My Money worksheets. But today I thought we would also go over the process of how I get to those numbers. So I am currently using a cloth and paper half letter of their financial worksheets, also with the Budget Moms worksheets. And so in theirs, they have a monthly reflection page. And so we're kind of just going to use the back of this to jot down some numbers. So if you're new to closing out your budget, there's some information you have to gather before you can actually close your budget. So we want to get all of our needed to write and also couldn't keep track of what I was going to say. So we have to gather basically our ending numbers for the month. So any kind of bank accounts that you have, you'll have to list them out and write down what their balances are as of the end of the month. So for us, our main checking account is a Chase checking. And at the end of the month, we had, and I'm going to round up to whole numbers. I don't include the cents. So at the end of the month, we had $1,492. Of this $1,400, it also, 500 of that includes the money that was in our cash envelopes that we have saved for our house down payment. I haven't decided if I want to keep that in Chase to use to pay tuition, or if I want to go ahead and put it in our Capital One account, which is saving for the house down payment. So right now it's in our checking account, but it's also allocated to another purpose. So we technically only have like $990 at the end of the month. And so then we have two Chase savings accounts, and we'll call the first one sinking funds. We have $75 in that account, which is allotted to our lawn care. Spring is coming, and so we need to start saving for that. And then we also have a second Chase savings account, which I'm going to call the 1 month ahead. We had pulled $200 from there out of our envelopes, and so that is now sitting in the bank. So then we have a credit union checking, which we do not really use this account, but it does have a balance of $10 in there. And then we have a credit union savings account, which has the $500 from our emergency fund savings. And so this balance is actually $540. Then my husband has a separate credit union savings account. I'm going to put truck. So he had to have a separate savings account to where we put his truck payment in there, and then the credit union automatically withdraws that towards his loan. And so we did get an interest rebate last year. And so this account actually has $463 in it. And then we have a Capital One for our son, which is the high yield savings account. And his balance is $564. And then we have another Capital One high yield savings account that we're going to use for our house down payment. And that has a balance of $453. So we should have 8. Yep, 8 accounts. And then now we want to count our cash. So I did not do this previously. So we're going to count all of the cash that's in our envelopes. So for our 1 month ahead, I moved January and February to the back. And so for January, we still have in here 1, 2, 250, 270, 290. So we did take 500 of this to the bank. It's already accounted for in our checking, so I am not going to include that we have that 500 in here. So I am just counting what cash I have on hand. So for February, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 720, 730. At some point, we will probably take this to the bank, but we have not yet, so. And then let's go to our, kind of like our bills binder. This one is going to have less, so we've got tip money still, 5, 10, 15, 20, 21, 22. Taxes, should have 300, yep. And we have 500 left from our emergency fund. So we've got 500 allocated in the bank, which we will not count because it's already in our, reflected in our savings account. So this should be 500 cash. So we have 152, 253, 350, 370, 390, 410, 430, 450, 470, 490, 500. Okay, so, oh, I have to put the placeholder back in here. So that's it for this binder. And the last one we'll do is the green binder. So for Christmas, we have 400. Nothing in birthdays. Mother's Day just has 20. Father's Day just has 20. 1 month ahead is not in here. My husband has 1, 2, 3, 320. I should have 420, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 20. The baby has 2. And these should all be empty. So we will be able to start stuffing these in March, and I am so excited. So this is the remaining cash we have from our 1 month ahead fund. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 750, 770, 790, 800. So we have 38.24 in cash. So let's go ahead and write that down. And so that is going to be all of our assets. So let's add that together. So we have the 38.24 plus 1492 plus 75 plus 200 plus 10. So 76.21. Now you want to do your debts, which are also going to be your liabilities. My goodness, there's the cat again. Okay, so as of the end of February, we are down to our last 2 debts. So we paid off the Best Buy card in February, so we no longer have that on our debt totals. So we have our cell phones, which have a balance of $667, and then our truck has a balance of $29,585. So we add those 2 together. Our total debt at the end of February was $30,252. How exciting. So by the end of March, we should be less than $30,000 for debt. Okay, so the next step that you would do if you're closing out your budget is you have to track all of your expenses. So I did this portion off of camera because it takes me a while. We pay off our credit cards at the end of the month, and so basically when you're trying to track your expenses, you need to get all of your bank statements, any credit card statements. So when I close out my budget for doing our tracking, I am removing our credit card payments and adding our transactions from our credit cards, because the payment is not reflecting what we actually spent that money on. So I pull our credit card statements and I assign each transaction to a budget category that we have in our budget. So I will try to post a screenshot of my budget categories and the totals. So basically what I do is I pull all that into Excel, and I have a spreadsheet where I keep track of all of that. And I will just show y'all the summary of our spending. So when you have all of that together, you're going to want to put it into your worksheets that you have. If y'all use the Budget Mom, you can add these into your add the totals into your worksheets. So what we're going to do right quick though is I need to pull our January totals. So here is a look at our January totals. I need to move these over to February now. So let's just pull these out right quick. This binder is getting too full. And this is 2022. Yes, I am using basically just the monthly tabs. And I still have the calendar in here, but so let's go to February. And I actually tried to put in my budgeting worksheets into the half letter, and they came out a little weird. So I'll show you all that in another video. Okay, so for January, I'll fill this out in my closeout video. Stay tuned for that. It'll be right after this video. I wanted to separate them because they're probably both going to be pretty long. So, but what we can do is go ahead and pre-fill in any of last month's numbers to prep us for closing out our current month budget. So our total debt we started with for this year was $34,550. And last month, let me pull up my worksheet because I had to change the numbers from this sheet because the cell phone was off by like $30, and then the credit union's website was down, so it was not actually reflected. So I think I put 30,000. It was actually 30,101. But our cell phone balance actually was $732, and our truck was actually at 30,101. So last month our debt should have been $31,433. And so when we update the sheet for the next video, we can plug in this month's numbers and it will show us. So looks like I already pre-filled this in. Our net worth was a negative $24,855 from last month. And then basically now we want to go to our budget categories and copy over our January numbers. So these were December's and we wrote in January. Now we want to reflect January's numbers and add our February's in our closeout. Okay, so we wrote out our last month's budget totals, and so in our February closeout we will update it with our February numbers. So basically that is everything I do to close out my budget, and if you want to see our end results, stay tuned for the next video. Thank y'all. Bye.